Welcome back to the ID Race channel. Really appreciate you guys for tuning in. Sorry for the delay on the video. I will say for good reasons, I wanted to save this video. I could have posted it a while ago, but I didn't have everything that I wanted to be able to show to make this a full episode for you guys to be able to see. You've already seen the engine that's going to be going into the new second gen FC drag car that we're going to shoot for the moon, basically. The rotating assembly is the most important part of this build, in my opinion. With having this much horsepower in a rotary, we can't cut corners. I'm going to do it right. I'm going to do it right the first time. I already had the new side plates for the Cosmo block. I wanted to be able to put something really special together. This type of an engine and as much power as that I plan on making out of a 2-rotor engine, 13B Cosmo block, I decided I was going to go with FD RX-7 rotors, brand new, which is great to be able to have new rotors, but to not have them balanced and clearanced, that's where the delay came. In my shop, I can only do so much. I do not have a CNC balancing machine or equipment or anything like that. So there is stuff that I do have to send out, which Balance Whiz does all my rotating assemblies. Edgar helped me out with doing the stud kit. And also I needed to have the bearing support modification done to the rear stationary gear. So there was a lot of parts that had to go through. It's kind of the months, and that's like right where those guys are preparing to go for an entire race season in Florida. And obviously World Cup finals is coming up. So those guys are going to be in Maryland and taking care of business there. So I really pressed them to be able to get a lot of my stuff done when they have like 10 different engines and combinations that those guys have to also help locally to where they're at and across the country. So I'm nothing special. I just reach out to them and get what I can get, and they do a phenomenal job. So I just keep going back to them. But I got everything back in the mail for the stationary gear. For the rear, I haven't actually seen this modification in person, so I don't even know what it looks like. So we're going to check it out together. So let's get to it. Let's start unboxing this stuff. I did receive these packages earlier this month, which the stationary gear, or not stationary gear, the front counterweight, this guy was with these ones. That's why it's just kind of sitting here separate. They really don't do a ton with these counterweights. It's when they grind off some of this material here, and then obviously it's got a little bit taken out there and a little bit material taken out there. So not really a whole lot done to the actual front counterweight. Obviously there's probably a lot of machine work in that I have no idea, but it's done. Rotors that we got here, I already opened these, but I was actually shocked. I bought these from Japan and I saw that they already had some clearancing done on the sides. Wonders of editing, I can just pull it out of the box. So the interesting thing that I saw is from factory, they actually machine these off already on the sides there, which was pretty interesting. They take off, well, I should say not they, Leo at Balance Whiz actually takes off more material off this side, as well as he did take off material here. So actually this entire surface here, they take off material off this whole thing, and obviously this pocket is the same, but yeah, that's actually interesting. I did not notice that. Wait a minute. This material is not even touched. So this is Mazda factory casting, and you can see where he had to touch around. This is where the actual bit came. So from Mazda, these are actually recessed in a little bit, so that's almost like perfect. And this is the only section that he actually touches. Aha! All right. You know, on a brand new one, you can really see what they do on the machine work on all these faces, because this here, this is not touched. Neither is this section here. A little bit taken off there. That's the machine work. This is actually the Mazda machine work, or the casting of the rotor. And then this is all machined all the way through here, this whole section. And then this pocket is left alone. Interesting. You know, I didn't really look at any of this stuff really up close yet, just because I was waiting for everything. But yeah, No, and I remember this on my other rotating assembly that this section was done. They don't really have to touch up here that much. But yeah, you can definitely tell that machine work, how they do that. Or how he does that, I should say. Nice. All right. Interesting. Okay. Well, that's the rotors. So the machine work, the cutting that he does, is he basically just makes them a little bit narrower up here so that it doesn't wobble and touch when it's spinning around and rotating. And then that this pocket right here, when it hits that compression pocket, when it comes around and hits that compression pocket where your spark plugs are, that this section doesn't bang into the actual compression area or start wobbling in and hitting the rotor housing. Interesting. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right, well, my phone died while I was opening up the eccentric shaft, but everybody's seen an eccentric shaft. Brand new REW FD-ARC7 eccentric shaft, E-shaft. I got both the rotors, all the machine work, everything's done there, so that's phenomenal. The only thing I don't know is what's inside this box. And I mean, I know what's inside the box. It's going to be my rear counterweight, my rear stationary gear. Oh, one hand, that's kind of difficult. And then the bearing support. So I did the front and rear bearing support from E&J. And then, oh, what is this? What the hell is this? I don't know what that is. All right. Rear main seal. So now I have a new rear main seal that's required to be able to use this whole shindig. So we'll see how that goes. Oh, of course. The 3-piece E&J, is that right there? It's E&J, 3-piece apex seals. So I'll show you what 3-piece E&J seals look like if you haven't seen those, because those are sweet. There is my front bearing support. This is the new version that they came out with. It's upgraded because he seems to be getting somebody that always copy pastes his designs and what he does. But this is basically for the front. So it supports the front gear. I already used one of these on my S5 turbo engine that was in my convertible that I used for testing in the new car. These work awesome. I got like probably 3,000, 4,000 miles on one of these, and probably like, I don't know, 70 passes, quarter-mile passes. And this thing, my bearings are brand new. So 100% love this. This is a go-to item. But since I had this one, I was like, you know what? I'm going to do the rear one since I already have everything sent off for balancing. If you guys didn't know this, Edgar, E&J, and Balance Wiz, Leo Tavares, those guys are actually in the same building or the same machine shop. So for me to send my stuff there, I was all like, well, you already got it. Just do what you got to do. What the hell? So this is... I have no idea what the hell, how is this thing even put together? So this is my counterweight and my, okay, there we go. What? Okay, look at that. It's got my name on and everything. Wow, okay. So that's how that works. Interesting. And then this just goes right over it. That's your counterweight, okay? And that's the same size for my rear seal as this. All right. So that's interesting. Looks like it kind of marked up my bearing a little bit there in the shipping. Oh, no. Oh, wait, no, that just presses inside of here. Oh. Okay. Interesting. So this just goes, oh, wow. Yeah. All right. And then you have a little bit of space there. I'll have to ask him just to make sure that I know what the hell I'm doing here. I have no idea what this is. I got to think, what the hell do you use this for? What are these? I gotta put some thought into that. Like, what the heck does this use this for? Does it go? No, it can't go on the inside. Interesting though. So they machine this out, then they machine the back side of this to match the inner diameter. Then you have your seal, and then that just goes right in. Interesting. Sorry, I don't mean to move the camera around, but I've never seen this before. I really don't know what this does yet. They definitely look like they're important because they're machined for something. What the hell would you use this for? All right. Either way, well, that is the modifications that I have. So now we have the rear bearing support. So we have the rear bearing support for our counter weight for the rear. And that guy basically supports our rear. This guy supports our front. So now that E-shaft can't wobble, it can't flex. Any of the torque that's pushed down in here, it transfers to that bearing support, so it's not putting a ton of load on our actual bearing. Everything should be very pressurized, oil pressurized in here as well, and that rear main seal should be sealed. Kind of interesting. So these actually just hold that seal in place from basically pushing out underneath pressure. Which makes sense because this seal is actually a little bit narrower than a Mazda OEM. Very interesting, very interesting. I like the design. I mean, Edgar thinks of everything. So good on him. Good on you, Edgar. Good on you. Wow. What a beautiful rotating assembly. I mean, this thing is just coming together now. Now we got all the good stuff. Let's take a peek at these apex seals. You guys got to see. These are what I always have used in my race application. I've used these since probably, I would say 2013. And the big difference is, and you know what? I'm going to grab a normal seal and then we'll show you these. All right, so just to put this in perspective, try to get some light on here. So this is a normal Mazda OEM apex seal. I'm sure you guys have seen these before. Now the little tip on the outside, so that has the little corner pieces there. As you can see, there's only 6 apex seals in here. There's 12 tips. So there's a bunch of tips in there, right? Well, I use what's called a 3-piece. So I use a small tip on both sides instead of just one on this side. Now what this does is that tip, as the seal expands or as it's going through the housing, that tip actually can go in and out, in and out. It basically is able to kind of move in and out. So on these, it makes the seal just a little bit narrower, right? And then both these 2 tips on each side will evenly distribute this apex seal on the housing face evenly and not bind on any corners. Now, I like these because of the compression, and I know for a fact, and anybody that's ever used these seals know that these things have awesome compression. And they actually have a belly on them too. So that actually has like a belly on the bottom for rigidity right here so that they don't warp. Whereas here, there's no belly. It's just flat across. This is a normal Mazda OEM seal, by the way. But yeah, you can definitely see the difference in the design of what E&J does. They definitely put a lot to it. And these are almost they're like porous. So with them being porous, they actually absorb oil and keep the seal actually lubricated. Even the Mazda OEM ones are actually somewhat porous as well. It's almost like a gray iron material, but this is very hard. It's a very hard material. Well, this is, in my opinion, maybe it's the same stuff, just a different blend, but this is softer where if it hits detonation, these will not break. These actually bend, they flex. They can even warp a little bit, and during a couple of heat cycles, they can even come back to shape a little bit. It's not perfect, but you can still make passes on them. So I'm impressed with the new design. I like that. I haven't had a new set of these in a long time. I'm excited to use them. Just absolutely stoked for this setup. There's a lot of thought process that went into this, a lot of testing of products that I've used in the past and machine work that I've had in the past done. So I know that this works as well to, we're going to just say, the level that I've reached and not even broken the limits, and it's been very reliable at, 800, 900 wheel horsepower, probably in that 1,000 to 1,050, maybe 1,100 horsepower range to do what we've done in the past. I'm looking to push the limits beyond that. And hopefully by using new parts and machining them and going the route that I did, it not only will give me the peace of mind, but it'll give me the best platform, the base start point to be able to push this to the next limit. Now, I'm not expecting to be reliable over that, 900 to 1,000 horsepower at the engine or at the crank. In this setup, running on methanol and looking to make as much boost as, a 85 millimeter turbo. On a 2-rotor engine, we're asking a lot. And I know that. So I think that even respectively, if we can make some 1,000 horsepower hits at the tire to 1,200 horsepower at the engine, that's going to be a step up in the right direction and being able to incrementally raise the boost and see what we can get out of this engine, this rotating assembly. We'll find out what fails. Hopefully everything stays together. I just hope that we don't break an eccentric shaft in half or, dent the rotor so bad where it cracks the actual face of the rotor open. There's so much catastrophic damage that you can do to a rotary that I haven't seen yet. So with the right tune, the right setup, the right team on board that I feel like I have, I think that we're going to be able to make this setup work in a Cosmo semi-peripheral port, running methanol, and just cramming 50 pounds of boost through this thing and see what we actually end up in a quarter mile. In a stick shift car, I think we're going to be able to make some serious passes. So with that being said, if that didn't get you excited, I don't know what to tell you because I am absolutely pumped for this next level of my race program, going from an S5 turbo block to now we're going big changes. And I'll tell you right now, a lot of the changes that I'm making, I've never even done it before to the level that I'm going to try to get to. So there might be a learning process for myself, and I'll be able to take you guys along for that journey and where I end up, and hopefully we make some records happen. Tell me what you guys think in the comments on the new rotating assembly. Was it worth the wait? I think it was. Tell me if I'm wrong. Appreciate you guys for watching the video. Have a good one.